Welcome to the Devils in Detail Women's Basketball Roundtable. I'm Sam Ficarro. I'm joined by Jordan Kaye, Gigi Micketti, and Leah Soto. So guys, ASU ended their 4-game road trip on a sour note. They lost both games in LA. They lost to UCLA in a game that they were down big, but made a late comeback, and then USC where they faltered in the second half. So what were your main takeaways from this weekend, Leah?
My main takeaway is that ASU really needs to be able to close out games. Even if they're ahead in a game at the beginning, they'll falter in the fourth quarter, in the second half. If they're down in the first quarter, and they come back the rest of the game, they still can't seem to close it out. And I think they just really need to be able to clinch wins.
Gigi?
I think they have like a real big issue with being able to box out because a lot of these girls, they're more experienced and they're just pushing them off the ball. And so they're unable to score and come back through that. Yeah,
Charlie Turner-Thorne has said that too, that she's felt that while they've out-rebounded most opponents, they haven't done a good job boxing out. So they were hoping they would improve from that after the Washington game, but we haven't seen that really. Like they even the rebound total against UCLA, and I think USC might have out-rebound them against ASU. So, Jordan, what was your big takeaway this weekend?
That the guard play is not where it needs to be. This guard, because of Kelsey Moose's injury, they're starting 3 guards, Riley Richardson, Sabrina Haynes, and Robbie Ryan, and none of them have stepped up at all. For a little bit there, Riley Richardson was looking like the threat that the ASU needed going into Pac-12 play, but then she has really faltered in probably the past 4 or 5 games, and she has not had, I don't think, over double digits. They're not getting rebounds, they're not boxing out, they're not getting assists, they're not making plays, and the guard play has really struggled, and I don't see any hope for that so far.
Yeah, like this is a young backcourt, so I wonder if fatigue is starting to set in a little bit with this team. That was a big thing that hurt ASU down the stretch last season, even though they had a record-setting season last season. In the tournament, they just were tired. You know, this is a physically demanding conference, especially with Pac-12 much more competitive this season. And so now, where does ASU go from here? So Jordan, what are some things ASU really needs to work on going forward?
Well, they do need to work on their guard play. They have been trying to get the ball in down low to Quinn Dornstadter and Sophie Bruner more. Yesterday they had 22 shots, I believe, but they only made 10 of them. So I don't know where the trade-off is there, but they are getting the ball down low more, but they're not, their three-point shooting's horrible. Yesterday they didn't have a three-point made until the 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's unacceptable. With these run-and-gun teams of the Pac-12, you're going to need to score and score quick. And with the 3, it just hasn't been there this season for ASU.
Yeah, partially it's because Moose has been injured too. I think that has really hurt ASU's three-point shooting. So, Gigi, what is something ASU does need to work on as well?
Honestly, working the perimeter, that's a huge thing because teams as good as the Pac-12 has been doing, like, they're able to shut them down in the paint, and you can only do so much. Quinn's going to get tired. All the other young guards are going to get tired. Unless they can start making it from the three-point line, they're not going to be able to do well.
I think they need to step up their mental game. I think if you want to beat the fatigue problem, you got to conquer it in your brain, in your mind, because it's not something that you can just toss back a bunch of Gatorade and overcome.
Yeah, like I thought it was interesting that ASU, they started going, the opponents starting to go more to zone defense against ASU, and the Sun Devils have just really struggled exposing the zone. They seem very stagnant on offense. They just pass it around until there's 5 seconds on the shot clock, and then they just shoot up an errant shot. And that's not the way ASU likes to run their team. And I do think the guards are not doing a good job. Like Riley Richardson, we were praising her of her driving to the inside the paint to help setting up open shooters, and ASU hasn't been doing that. And I do think that has come back to ASU. A depth too can also be another thing too. The depth is just with the injuries and the transfers has really hurt the Sun Devils.
Kiana Ibis and Kelsey Moose both out in the front court, and they just haven't been able to move the ball at that 3 position. And so you're having to have a guard who should be a 2 playing the 3, and they're not spacing the floor and moving it around. They're holding the ball. Charlie Turner-Thorne was talking about the guards holding the ball too long, and as you're saying, they're just chucking up 3s with 2 seconds left on the shot clock, and they're not having any set offense, and it's been struggling.
So next up for ASU is that they'll have the Oregon schools coming. So we have 11th ranked Oregon State who beat Oregon in both Civil War games this past weekend. And then Oregon will come here on Sunday. So it doesn't get much easier. It'll ease up a little bit after this homestand. So what does ASU need to do to beat the Oregon schools? Leah?
I think that they just need to focus, get their head back in the game, get back to where they were actually playing really well, and just try and make sure that they're doing what they need to do.
Just kind of regroup, go back to what they were doing like earlier in the season before they started going on this losing streak. Because honestly, like if they can get Riley Richardson and Robbie Ryan back in the game, they're going to be able to succeed and do well.
I think they just need to pound the ball down low for the first 2 quarters. Just give it to your 2 best players, Quinn Dornstadter and Sophie Bruner. Let them go to work in the paint. And then when the second half rolls around and everyone's collapsing on those 2, that's when you kick it out and give easy looks to Riley Richardson and the other guards. Build their confidence going forward, and it should be a good game plan going against 2 great teams.
Yeah, so it should be a hard one. So the ASU game will have Oregon State Friday night and then Oregon on Sunday. So for this roundtable, I'm Sam Ficarro, Jordan Kaye, Gigi Micketti, and Leah Soto. Thanks for watching, and for all of our women's basketball coverage, make sure you tune in to devilsindetail.com.